I don't believe in diversification at all. I would own one stock if I could find one great stock. Diversification is a big mistake. I call it diversification.
That was the great Peter Lynch, an incredibly successful fund manager with whom I completely and utterly agree on this particular topic. If I were just hypothetically to happen across a company, a publicly traded company, that ticked all of my boxes when it comes to long-term investing, endless innovation, great leadership, an engineer-driven business, constantly disrupting themselves lest they be disrupted, an incredible track record of execution, doing the impossible over and over and over, demonstrating an ability to become world-class at everything they touch, with fingers in a handful of trillion-plus dollar, in some cases decatrillion-dollar pies, a company that even in the worst scenario, the worst possible outcome, would still do exceedingly well, I too would be happy owning a single stock. In fact, if such a company, again, this is all just hypothetical, were to exist, not only would I be more than happy, thrilled in fact, to own a single stock, but if broadly investors, generally speaking, hadn't fully seen what I'd seen, hadn't really grasped the true greatness, the long-term future, many of the inevitable outcomes, and the absolute dominance of a handful of multi-trillion-dollar industries, I wouldn't just be happy owning the stock. I would have been bending over backwards to buy as much as possible, as fast as possible, with the expectation that future Stephen would be thanking present and past Stephen for his aggressive buying activity. Of course, no such company called Tesla exists, therefore this is just an exercise in imagination. But I just wanted to share this clip because I completely agree with the philosophy here of Peter Lynch. And remarkably, a few years ago I had no idea who this guy was. A few guys actually recommended his books, pointed him out, maybe because I'd said a few things that were similar to some of his thinking. And it's remarkable how closely we are aligned on this particular topic. One of the first videos I published on this YouTube channel back in 2019 opened with me pointing out why I personally wasn't a fan of diversification. In fact, let's hear what I had to say back in 2019. So here's the original video, posted when Tesla was about $22 per share, split adjusted, explaining why I had an extremely concentrated portfolio and wasn't exactly a fan of diversification for its own sake.
This goes against the investment advice of almost everyone ever, and for good reason. Concentrating a large amount of wealth in a single asset can be a recipe for disaster. Thing is, I'm confident or arrogant enough to believe that I do know what I'm doing. History may prove me to be wrong.
So, more than 5 years later and roughly a 20x increase in the value of Tesla since this was published, I guess it's safe to say that history proved that to be a reasonable decision or just pure luck. So before we hear what else this guy, just over 5 years ago, had to say on the topic of diversification and why he was all in on Tesla stock, I just want to explain why I'm bringing this up. It's still early in the history of Tesla, the company. Autonomy will make the automotive business look like a rounding error. And the humanoid robot business will make the automotive business plus autonomy also look like a rounding error. And when I first began buying Tesla stock early 2016, humanoid robots were not on my radar. I didn't expect this outcome, but just to be clear, I strongly believe that humanoid robots will be the biggest, most consequential product in history. Potentially infinite market. Now, obviously not literally infinite. You're going to run out of matter and energy eventually, at least in our local system. But the potential scale of increasingly capable and intelligent humanoid robots, mass-produced at a relatively low price point that eventually can mass-produce more of themselves, is astronomical. The potential of scaling the global labour market is astronomical. And something very unusual is about to happen with Tesla. We've got a range of new vehicles that everyone seems to have forgotten about entering production in the first half of this year, somehow lost in the noise. A refreshed Model Y having just dropped. There's going to be a relentless coverage in the media of Elon bad and Orange Man bad and the Department of Government Efficiency. Right as Tesla's beginning to scale up autonomy, and just after Elon Musk has disclosed Tesla intends on ramping Optimus humanoid robots with a few thousand working in Tesla factories this year, around 50,000 produced next year, and around 500,000 the following year. Just like back in 2019 when I first posted this video, people were missing the fact that Tesla was about to start printing insane profits out of seemingly nowhere, and funnily enough, the stock skyrocketed soon after. This feels like the setup for round two. Outside of my basic living expenses, and of course my tax obligations, every single dollar I earn is still going straight into Tesla stock. I could be buying anything, I could be investing in anything right now. Yet my stock portfolio still today consists entirely of Tesla. This is not because I'm ideologically obsessed with the idea of owning a single stock. I just look around into the marketplace of opportunities and I cannot, for the life of me, find a better risk-adjusted opportunity. They obviously exist. I just can't see any. Anyway, let's go back 5 or so years and see what this guy had to say about diversification again.
I'm not a believer in diversification for its own sake. If you have no idea what you're doing, then sure, diversify. If you're petrified of risk, sure, diversify. If you have mouths to feed, then sure, diversify. I don't, and I'd much rather be making investment decisions from a place of confidence than uncertainty.
Oh, that last line there was pretty good. Wish I'd thought of that myself. Man, that guy's, what a call. I'd much rather be making investment decisions from a place of confidence than uncertainty. Does this guy have a YouTube channel? I might go subscribe. That was pretty good. So while we're on the topic of confidence, just like to share a few things today in early 2025 pertaining to Tesla, of which I am extremely confident. Obviously, my track record's terrible, so keep that in mind. But here are a few things that I'm extremely confident of when it comes to Tesla. Even in the 1 in 100 worst case scenario, the company's still going to slay it relative to most others in the world. They could coast, just go into cruise control right now and still do quite well. In other words, the downside, still pretty damn good. I'm also extremely confident that Tesla will maintain an incredible competitive advantage in mass producing extremely compelling, ultra-safe, exceptional value electric vehicles. Shout out to the machine that builds the machine. Moreover, I am extremely confident that Tesla will take a very large slice of the global autonomy market, not just in terms of miles traveled, but importantly, profits. They obviously won't get 100% market share. Just like today, they don't have 100% market share of electric vehicles. But as I've mentioned many times, I can count on half a hand the number of companies today actually making any money at all selling electric vehicles. Tesla's one. Top of the list. There's a couple of companies in China that may or may not currently be making money selling electric vehicles. Everyone else is losing insane amounts of money. The reason I'm so confident Tesla's going to take a massive slice of the autonomy opportunity, in particular the profits, is because today they have far and away the best product in terms of its abilities today, its potential to scale rapidly, and the fact that it is a general solution as opposed to an extremely brittle, narrow, expensive train wreck waiting to happen. I've covered this before. I'm not going to get into too much detail here, but long story short, Tesla's won autonomy. They're going to have a superior product and far greater scale than any other company for the foreseeable future. They're going to dictate terms around pricing, particularly in the West. Of course, the skeptics will say, well, how do you know that's going to happen? Well, I don't know that's going to happen. I'm just here to tell you it will happen. So when it does happen, I can say, I told you that would happen. I've thought deeply about how another company would surpass Tesla in terms of the capability with autonomy. I don't see it happening. And if I'm right, which would obviously be the first time in history, and Tesla is able to dictate terms around pricing, and they have a cost advantage plus software that's more capable than any other autonomous software on Earth, and scale, and experience in mass manufacturing vehicles, I don't see any viable, reasonable, or realistic scenarios in which Tesla doesn't take a massive slice of this opportunity. Of that, I am extremely confident. But who gives a fuck about autonomy, a multi-trillion-dollar opportunity, when we can talk about humanoid robots and the global labor market? I'm equally confident over the long term that Tesla's going to take a massive slice of this opportunity too. It's important to understand, Tesla is absolutely dominating electric vehicles today. The narrative a decade ago, the competition's coming, just wait until the big boys, once they release their model of this. Bro, it's been more than a decade, better part of 15 years. The company should have been chasing after Tesla and going after this opportunity. And instead of the competition coming for Tesla, they've come all over themselves, embarrassed and apologizing that never usually happens. Again, I can count on half a hand the number of companies today making any money selling electric vehicles, and of those, Tesla's making fuck tons more than number 2. You know why? Big brains, an engineering culture, endless innovation, and experience mass producing compelling products faster and more affordably than anyone else. The majority of the brain for a humanoid robot Tesla's already developed via FSD. It's not the whole story, but it's the majority. No other company has that, and it's important to know this. I don't know of any company that has 7 million vehicles or robots on roads of any kind, or actual humanoid robots built to collect data to build something comparable to what Tesla's built with Tesla Vision. That's a huge part of the brain necessary for an intelligent humanoid robot that Tesla's built. No one else. And as I alluded to moments ago, Tesla has experience mass producing products. No company trying to produce humanoid robots to sell to consumers has even close to the same experience in mass producing extremely compelling, affordable products. Zero. It's kind of important if you want to make and sell a lot of these things, that you know how to make and sell a lot of things and make money doing so. Of course, much like I said more than half a decade ago in this original video, history may prove me to be wrong, but I remain extremely confident Tesla's going to take a huge slice of autonomy, a massive slice of the increasingly capable and competent humanoid robot market. You've got to understand, the humanoid robots that Tesla produces with software updates will get increasingly capable and increasingly intelligent, aka increasingly valuable. They can do more. And the other thing I am extremely confident of is most investors, analysts, and those in the finance media are going to be completely distracted when Tesla's range of new, more affordable vehicles enter production and deliveries begin. When an inevitable Model Y refresh appears in the United States, they're going to be focused on cars, vehicles, total addressable market, sales, gross automotive margins while these cars ramp, and miraculously forget about the Cybercab and the Optimus humanoid robot. The final message I'd like to leave you guys with is just to try and put into perspective my current thoughts on Tesla and why I still remain all in. I had my reasons for being all in on Tesla stock 5 years ago, and I laid them out in this video. I was very confident with my decision and it seems to have aged pretty well. More than 5 years later, based on what I now know, if it were possible to be giga all in on Tesla stock, I would be. The upside potential from here, the risk-adjusted opportunity, in my eyes, is significantly more than it was back in 2019, with Tesla around $22 a share, already showing signs of massive dominance in electric vehicles. Now, I obviously could be wrong. I mean, I don't think I will be. I'm very confident of that, but it's possible. But as that guy 5+ years ago said, he'd much rather be making decisions from a place of confidence than uncertainty. And you know how you gain a level of confidence? By thinking, which sometimes hurts. But if you use your brain enough, explore all the different potential scenarios, try to get a good understanding of what's going on, where things are moving, what Tesla's doing, their point of difference with other companies, their track record. If you think about this deeply for a long enough period of time, and I have to say it, you have above average intelligence. I do mean that, by the way. I mean, if you're just like a typical average, I don't know, if you're a midwit, you just might not get it. Sorry, not sorry, it's just true. If you're not a midwit, and you're obviously not because you're watching this channel, which automatically means you're at least one standard deviation above average, obviously. If you think about this deeply, long enough and hard enough, you'll probably have a higher level of confidence in the company and the opportunities. Now, it doesn't mean you draw the same conclusions, but you can eliminate large amounts of uncertainty. I always think of it like shining a torch into the dark areas of your understanding until you've illuminated everywhere. Wait, what's in that corner? Let me think about this. How would other companies catch up? Oh, they can't. Oh, cool. And this is why it's so important to use your fucking brain. I really have to underscore this. The way you gain confidence around your decisions isn't by outsourcing your thinking. It's by doing the heavy lifting with your own brain. Deep thought and analysis. But if thinking hurts too much, I mean, you can always diversify. That is one way to buy some insurance against the lack of willingness to actually think through and analyze an opportunity in depth. There is one final thing that I need to address, and that is track record. If you have a history you can examine of making what you believe to be high confidence decisions that don't age well, there's a word for that. And I'm not just talking about one or two decisions that didn't age well. I'm talking about you being extremely confident about things, making decisions based on that extreme confidence, and then being proven to be wrong over and over and over. The word for that is retard. Or, alternatively, these two terms are interchangeable, Tesla Q. If that's you have a track record of high confidence, poor decision making, you might want to sit this one out. I'm not sure that R-bombs should necessarily be investing. And one way to know if that happens to describe you doesn't just apply to investing. If the gap between the life you would like and the life you have does not close over time and do so in a reasonable time frame, you're probably a tard. And there is nothing more financially dangerous than a tard investing. Want more content? Early access? Bunch of perks? Click the links in the pinned comment. AG1 is awesome. I've been taking it daily now for more than 3 years. It's a great way to fill in nutritional gaps. It's packed full of vitamins, minerals, and whole food source nutrients. Plus, has prebiotics, probiotics, and adaptogens to improve gut health, regularity, and help your body handle stress. I'm always looking for an edge to help me feel and perform my best, which is why I haven't missed a day of AG1 for more than 3 years. Just try it and see how you feel. Click the link in the pinned comment or head to drinkag1.com/SMR and get yourself a free 1-year supply of vitamin D3 plus K2 and 5 travel packs. This is what viewers of the channel had to say after trying AG1. I feel like I have a lot more energy since I started on AG1. Just got my AG1 in the mail. Legit feeling the effects after day 3. 3 months ago, I started AG1 and have been enjoying the evenness of alertness and energy that lasts the day. I just started the wife on it too. Are you convinced yet? I mean, hey, it's worth trying, right? Click the link in the pinned comment or head to drinkag1.com/SMR, or I can keep going. This viewer, after about a month on AG1, definitely a lack of fatigue in the afternoon. Pleasant side effect is that my coffee intake has imploded and is almost down to 0. One more? Yeah, why not? I honestly feel younger and will be continuing to use AG1. This stuff really is crazy good. I didn't think it would be, but this stuff is awesome. It really is what everyone is saying. One more, don't mind if I do. I've just received my 3rd month supply. I've drank it every day. I have so much energy throughout most of the day. I'm productive, started a new business, started socializing, refurbished a boat. It's no coincidence. Thank you for your persistence, your integrity, and your insights. Now look, these are not my words. These are not my testimonials. This is what you guys and girls are saying. Maybe it's 100% placebo effect. But even if that's the case, I think it's money well spent. Click the link in the pinned comment or head to drinkag1.com/SMR and get yourself a free 1-year supply of vitamin D3 plus K2 and 5 travel packs.